Qumran on the Dead Sea is a desolate place. Here, after lying undisturbed for 2,000 years, a great library was found, an unimaginable treasure of parchment and papyrus, which came to be known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. Works that have unrivaled importance for understanding the history of Jewish and Christian thought. For 2,000 years, the scrolls lay hidden, rolled in jars. From the moment they were discovered in 1947 in the caves above Qumran, controversy has raged about who wrote them, when they were written, and where they were written. Now, for the first time, scientists have been able to resolve some of the questions which have troubled the scholars for 50 years. The Dead Sea Scrolls are the greatest find of ancient Jewish documents ever made. They have a central place in the Israel Museum in Jerusalem and in Jewish life. They've become objects of wonder and awe. And they come from an era of which little was known, and only a few tiny scraps of papyrus existed before they were found. They are the oldest known Hebrew version of the Bible, a Bible which does not vary greatly from the text used today. And they're also the rules of a lost community, thought to be the Essenes, who are believed to have lived here at Qumran for more than 200 years, up to and including the time of Christ. For reasons unknown, they left Jerusalem for this tract of desert between towering cliffs and the intensely saline waters of the Dead Sea. Although it's a world apart from Jerusalem, Qumran is less than 20 miles away. For 200 years, the members of the community waited here for the end of days, when they would inherit the kingdom. In 68 AD, they're believed to have hidden the scrolls above Qumran as the Roman legions of Vespasian approached, placing them first in these jars. But there is no hard evidence for this theory, which is drawn from the descriptions of the Essenes and their lives left by the ancient writers Josephus, Pliny, and Philo of Alexandria. Now attention is being turned to fresh scientific examinations of Qumran and the scrolls themselves. Nothing much remains of the Essenes, yet it seems that in these scattered and simple graves above the Dead Sea, there are still clues that were ignored in the excitement of discovery and translation. The scrolls have always been more than historical objects. They are steeped in religious and political significance, and so excited fierce competition. Fixing their exact place in ancient biblical literature was of paramount importance. Some of the scrolls were acquired by Professor Sukenik for the new state of Israel. But the bulk of the material was given into the care of a group of scholars and archaeologists, led by Father Roland de Vaux at the French biblical school, the École Biblique, in Jerusalem, then a part of Jordan. Throughout the 50s, de Vaux excavated the site at Qumran and removed some bones from the cemetery. He also decided that this was indeed an Essene settlement. A large proportion of the scrolls deal with the rules of a community very similar to the description of the Essenes left by Josephus, who wrote only a decade after the destruction of their community. He wrote that the Essenes, for whom he had great admiration, were a celibate group recruiting promising young men from the cities. He said that once they were accepted, they underwent a period of initiation and finally were admitted to the community after they'd surrendered all their property. Then they were given white linen garments, a hatchet, and permitted to take part in the ritual meals and prayers. He wrote that they bathed themselves, took daily communal meals, and had readings from sacred texts. They work assiduously till an hour before noon, when they again meet in one place and, donning linen loincloths, wash all over with cold water. The archaeological excavations made by Father de Vaux seem to conform to the descriptions left by Josephus. For example, the site itself contains many ritual baths and rooms thought to have been the refectory and the library. When they first emerged from the dryness of the caves, the scrolls suffered different fates. Some were cut up and sold as fragments. 4 were acquired by a cleric, advertised anonymously for sale in the Wall Street Journal, and bought by Israel. But gradually most of the scrolls and fragments arrived here at the Rockefeller in a variety of containers, including matchboxes and shoeboxes. But out of their cases and frames, the extraordinary detail and beauty of the scrolls can be appreciated for the first time. The scroll bindings made separately, the lines made on the parchment to guide the authors, and the corrections written above the lines can be seen clearly 2,000 years later. This is one of the Thanksgiving Psalms. These psalms were probably sung daily by the members of the community. This one thanks God for personal salvation and election. You have supported me in steadfast faithfulness, and with your Holy Spirit, you delighted me. Josias' hunch was correct. Bedouin buried their dead in the cemetery, and the original cemetery was exclusively male. We can now say with confidence that Qumran is the place where the Dead Sea Scrolls were studied and composed and then hidden in jars in caves. We can also say that Qumran was the site of the Essene settlement as described by Josephus nearly 2,000 years ago. This barren and deserted place has had a profound influence on Jewish and Christian thought. The dead who lie in this cemetery, only a few hundred souls, studied the Bible, interpreted it, copied it, and tried to live a life of piety and purity in anticipation of the coming of the Messiah and the end of days. For the Christian and Jewish worlds in particular, it is a story full of significance, and it is a continuing source of wonder and speculation. Some mysteries have been dispelled, but there is also a remaining mystery. What happened to the Essenes after the community came so abruptly to an end? The physical sciences will undoubtedly lead us still closer to the Essenes, perhaps by way of ancient DNA, and then we may know for certain what happened to them.